Awesome, awesome. Here we are. All right. YouTuber, Navy bro. I can say that, right?
Yeah.
Or how do you want to be introduced? How about you introduce yourself?
I was actually thinking that last night when I was like, what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna talk about? I'm gonna get all these Star Wars points going.
Star Wars, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like it's been in like every single one of your videos so far.
I know. I can't escape it.
I mean, it's just like the thing that happened recently. So
Yeah, that's true.
like last month, end of last month, like what was it, the 19th of December?
Yeah. Just a few weeks ago now.
Yeah.
A whole other year.
There's all these videos still coming out on it every day from every guy who wants to talk about it and get some views.
Jesus Christ.
But
I don't want to be that guy.
nah, it's okay.
For me, it's more on the writing, man. That's what gets me. Yeah.
It's a little bit of everything. Not just one thing, not just one person, not just one director, unfortunately.
How do you mean?
Oh, so, like, I didn't like The Last Jedi. A lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi. A lot of people will say that's where the new Star Wars died. That's not entirely true.
Kill it if you have to,
Yeah.
I think was the line.
Yeah. Not entirely true, though, actually.
Yeah.
In The Force Awakens, okay, it's wearing the skeleton of the original trilogy. Like, it's wearing the bone.
That was one of its critics were talking about that being an issue, or some people would say that it's a good thing.
It seems like a good thing, right? Because you get that nostalgia callback, and a lot of people like that. I like that. I know you don't, but
I'm not against it.
But
not at all. Not at all. It's the story for me.
The issue is all this nostalgia callbacks are just a distraction from the fact that The Force Awakens has no actual, like, I won't say no coherent narrative, but the plot points aren't necessarily related. Like, the opening sequence is Kylo Ren searching for the map to Luke Skywalker, trying to get it out of that old, like, not Jedi. And they had that massacre, and Finn gets all, like the blood on his mask, and starts getting,
dramatic,
getting his doubts, and Poe cracks a little joke because he thinks he's about to be executed, etc., etc.
Right.
Well, so the thing about the map to Luke Skywalker, though, is that takes the place of the Death Star plans, more or less. Like in New Hope, the whole movie centers around the fact that Leia got these Death Star plans away from the Empire just in time, and the droids. Well, the map to Luke Skywalker gets away in BB-88 or whatever his name is, the little cute, adorable roly droid.
Right.
And
so for you, it's just a bit too similar.
It has no bearing on, like, destroying Starkiller Base. The map to Luke is literally just, it's going to help them find Luke, and they think they need him. But by the end of that movie, they didn't need him. Like, he wasn't even in the movie till the very end. Like, Rey goes off and finds him by herself.
Right. Right. So you're saying that it was bothersome because they didn't need that whole intro, like that had no bearing on the mission for the rest of the film. It
was basically a plot device to drive things forward and get people to come together. And the other big problem is that is established in The Force Awakens is Rey and her Force proficiency. She's way too good. Like, every Jedi, every Sith in history of Star Wars has needed a master or a teacher of some sort. And she's just like Superman, and her powers like just manifest. Like,
ain't no one got time for that shit.
Like, I can just do the mind trick now.
Yeah.
I can just do the Force pull now. I can just,
Yeah. That didn't do it for you.
No. And the problem it creates is they made her so powerful in the first one. Like, she beats Kylo Ren. So, like, what are they going to do in the next one? Like, and she doesn't have any characterization. So it's just like weak. Yeah.
No, I can dig it, man. I mean, yeah, I am with you there when it comes to those plot points. Completely agree. Still a fun movie, though.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
It might not sound like, but I liked The Force Awakens. It's the one that I actually, like, I went to see there, I saw it, and I was like, okay, well, as long as they explain some of this stuff in the next one.
Yeah, which they did not.
They did not.
They basically said, or Rian Johnson was like, fuck you. But I'm glad he did it. I love that movie.
Some people think he didn't really have any other choice because of what he was left with.
I could see that. I mean, he did have another choice. He could have, Empire Strikes Back.
He could have rolled with it. I don't know.
But he ain't that kind of guy. That's why I love the guy, because he's like, you know what? Fuck you and your nostalgia. And I thought it was a very poignant theme, because the whole point of the film was anyone could be, could be a Jedi, or anyone. It left not only a Jedi, but just anyone could have that kind of influence. Anyone could be good and change the world around them. It doesn't have to be a specific walk of life. That's what the whole Jedi thing has been up until The Last Jedi, in my mind.
Well,
a very selective,
sort of
narrow.
Like when you look at the original trilogy, because there's just not many of them. There's Yoda, there's Obi-Wan, there's Luke,
right,
and then there's the Emperor and
Darth
Vader.
Sure.
But when you look at, you take all of the Star Wars into account,
the Clone Wars,
the prequels,
so good.
Like, you can clearly see that there was no bias, like for race or for species or for anything. Like,
age was a problem.
Well, age, yeah,
that was always a problem. Is that, which, I mean, I could understand, but only a little bit, because you would think if someone was raised, like, how could you be so broad in your terms of, like, because the whole thing with Anakin was like, oh no, he's too emotional.
He's already formed attachments.
Yeah, and I can understand that, but you would think the Jedi Order would be okay with, like, having the mom being there while he was training. Like, I guess I never really understood why it was so cultish. We're taking your kids away from you. And then we're going to give them some very top secret training. We're going to leave them alone with another guy for 12 years. Not that I'm against that at all. But I don't know. I've always thought, because they were framed as heroes in the movies, that we were just like all cool with that. And I think The Last Jedi kind of poked fun at that a little bit. A little bit. And especially with Luke saying, fuck, throwing the lightsaber and everyone losing their shit. I kind of like that, but I can see why some would be. Well, I mean, why didn't you like that movie?
Well, see, a lot of people say it's a deconstruction of Star Wars, and I'd say it's more just like a destruction. Like, I could see, like, that he's trying to be deconstructive, because some of those points they carry across other deconstructions of Star Wars, like Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Oh, sure.
Where Kreia, who's like in the top 100 best written video game characters of all time or something like that.
Next to Liaris, son.
She, makes similar themed points, that the Jedi teachings are wrong, that the Jedi teachings can't tell you the whole story. They can't teach you all about the Force. And
of course, liberals.
but she's, it's like you got to take her words with a grain of salt, because she's a Sith Lord telling you this in disguise. Like,
sure.
So it's kind of like, I agree, but then you're just like, wait a minute.
But then, I mean, I haven't played that game in years, because that's a PS2 game. That's BioWare too, yeah.
Original Xbox.
That's right.
PS2 era, that generation.
That generation, consoles. Right. But okay,
but
it was BioWare.
BioWare did the first one, and then they passed it off to Obsidian.
That's right, and that was after they did the first and second Fallout, I think, around that time too. No.
First and second Fallout were early 90s.
Is that right? I'm getting so confused, because Obsidian did New Vegas, and then they just did Outer Worlds.
Yeah, New Vegas was what?
2009, something like that. 11.
Because
it was before Skyrim, yeah.
Yeah, it was before Skyrim for sure.
Regardless, I didn't realize the second game was done by Obsidian.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. I want to go back and play it now, because I've loved Obsidian's games.
They passed the torch because they liked Obsidian's work, and the Lucas Arts or Lucasfilms or whichever one, I think it's Lucas Arts, they basically demanded that the second one be released within I think a year and 9 months. So they didn't get it even.
Damn, that's fast, man.
Yeah, they didn't even get a full 2-year cycle for it.
Holy shit! Why would? Oh, I guess it's just like for money then.
Yeah.
Why they wanted to have such a fast turnaround?
More or less.
Holy crap! That's crazy because now like a AAA game is what 5-6 years. I mean, for
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah, because like
Skyrim came out in 2011, and they're just now like, get ready for Elder Scrolls 6. It's been like 9 years. It's just like,
that's true, but they did have 2 Fallout games under
well,
their belt.
yeah, they had other stuff they were doing. It's just kind of funny, just.
Yeah, and all of them are so buggy. I think that's why I like Obsidian, the Outer Worlds so much, dude. I started playing that on the Xbox One X or whatever, and for one, I was like, holy shit. This reminds me of how I felt the first time I played Fallout 3 and when I played Skyrim. I was like, oh, whoa, but no bugs that I could see. And everything just felt tighter. Like the first-person combat felt really, really nice and smooth, like a FPS or smoother. And I had to stop playing it. Like 10 hours in, I'm like, I want to play this on Switch. If I have the option, dude, I'm going for the Switch. I can't honestly, the sacrifice graphically,
Not that big of a deal.
not for me. I'm enjoying The Witcher 3 on Switch. PC guys be damned. I have it on PC too, and I loved it. But I felt like I could never have. When am I going to sit for 350 hours to play the whole thing? I don't know. We were talking about Knights of the Old Republic, my bad.
That's okay. There wasn't really that much more to say.
Oh, no?
And also now I'm just, my mind's like, I haven't played these games he's talking about.
You haven't played the new ones? A lot of new games?
Now, as far as games go, for me, I'm kind of really choosy and picky.
Thank God, man.
And then just sometimes a big game will come out and I'll hear really good things about it and I'll be curious about it. And then I just, for whatever reason, I just never get it. And for me, The Witcher 3 was that way.
Oh, sure. So you've never played it?
Never.
Thank God. Because you really should. And now you have the better place to play it. Man, I've gotten a collective 120 hours in the game. But it's because the first time I played it was on PS4 or on PC, forgive me, and got 40 hours in and stopped. Not because I didn't want to keep playing, but because for the reason I said, it's tough to just push away time to.
Yeah, just sit down.
Yeah, for me anyway, at least at home. And then the same thing happened with Xbox. When I got the One X, they put out a patch that was 4K. I'm like, this isn't gonna look, and it looked really nice. And I got again 40 hours in, around the same mark. Now that it's on the Switch though, I'm able to have the time or find the time to push through and get further. But it's weird. CD Projekt Red has a weird game loop. They go long form more than I think even Skyrim or anything like that. Because Skyrim, you have all right, you talk to someone, quest, you're doing the quest.
Skyrim's sort of busy work. It's
yeah, but I mean they're short term. I think the longest mission that I remember playing was maybe an hour or two. But with The Witcher, that's not the case because you get one mission. Sometimes it'll be an hour or two, or other times it's like a full game, 10 hours here, and it's beautifully written. And then as you explore more of the world, you get all these little check marks. And I like completing games I really enjoy. So I would try to get all the check marks. And then as you do that, more check marks come up. So it's got its own, that's a good thing. But I don't know how much of a good thing it is if by the time you finish those check marks, you're only not even a third of the game in. And that's already been 40 hours. I don't know, man. So what games are you playing? You have a Switch now.
Yeah, I got a Switch not immediately after it came out, but basically, it came out in 2016 or 2015.
Yeah, I think it's almost 3 years now.
It was a year and a half after. I got a Switch for my brother before I got one for me.
Oh yeah.
Because he's an archaeologist.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he's on the road a lot because he has to go to where he can get a survey done or where he can get a dig. And so he needed a portable system like that where when he's at home, he can just slot it in and play it on the TV if he wants, or if he's going to be on the road and going from hotel to hotel, he can just. Plus, I mean, it's always nice. You can you're playing your game. It's I really got to shit, and then you just.
Sure.
You pick your Switch up, you go in there.
You can't beat it, man. You
amazing.
Can't beat it. No, I haven't done that yet.
Really?
Not that I don't want to. It's just, I think, my phone goes with me in there, and that's when I look up memes. I'm like, okay, I'll meme it up. But I don't know, man. It's tough. I have to get in the urge to play a game. I was just talking to Riley before this one, the model actress I told you about. And I told her something similar where it's like, I love games. Probably my favorite medium of entertainment, my favorite way to be entertained. But it's tough. And I don't know if you feel the same way. But when I do it, sometimes I feel guilty. It's like when I'm watching TV or something. It's like, I'm really enjoying this, but maybe I should be doing something more productive. And it is productive because you're learning about design and everything like that. But I don't know, man. I've been trying. That's one thing I wanted to change lately is like, it's okay to have fun.
Yeah, but you got some aspirations you want to fulfill.
Too many, man. Too many. It's terrible.
I'm kind of the opposite. Like I'm sort of a slack ass.
Okay.
I know that like that might not sound like it, what having joined the Navy and all, but
yeah, you sounded busy.
It was busy, but like ever since I got out, and even before, really, like joining was sort of just a way to get a stable like career path and paycheck.
Yeah.
Plus all the benefits. You get a hella good benefits in the military.
That's what they say.
But now that I'm out, I got to start thinking about aspirations again. And it's kind of funny. The girl I'm dating now, she like one of the first things she asked me, not on the first date, but it's like a week or two after.
Okay.
She's just like, so what are your ambitions in life?
I love this girl already. Keep her.
And I was just like, fuck.
Well, you said you wanted to get in the program. You can still do that.
Yeah, like I can still do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And it's easier now more than ever. You can just take online classes. You know? You don't have to worry about it.
So it's like something I'm thinking about. Like I got some time to think about it cuz
no rush.
She's still in school and she's got like 2 or 3 more years, I think, depending on how many classes she can get done. Like right now she's taking I think 5 classes at Kennesaw. She's taking calculus 3.
Wow.
Physics.
And she's smart.
Yeah. The other thing is she's totally homeschooled prior to college.
Really?
Yeah. Like
there's so many of those people, like homeschooled people.
Yeah, and she's just wickedly intelligent as far as like being able, like she can sit down and study. She can sit down and do her work. Like she's very disciplined. Yeah.
That's good.
Although if you told her that, she'd be like, sure.
I feel like that's that's common with people that just want to keep working.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, man, I'm way too lazy. Yeah.
It's crazy though. It's like how I got together with her, right?
Yeah.
I'm working at this hotel and she's working at the hotel as a housekeeper / houseman.
Okay.
Part-time while she goes to school. And that was last year. And she'd worked there for like 3 or 4 years while doing school. And she's like 6 years younger than me. So she'll be 24 in February 13th. She'll be 24.
Wow. God, I'm young, man. And are you 30?
I'll be 30 in May.
Fuck. I'm 30 in June.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I care about it yet. I'm sure by then I'll be like.
I thought about it. Like last year, I was trying to work out some more, and I was like, I got to get fit again by 30. Fit by 30.
That's what I'm doing.
And then
journey to 30, son.
Winter hit, and I just have not.
No.
I don't have money for like gym membership, so
sure.
Like even the gyms in like Calhoun are like they're still charging like if they were a city gym, like $39 a month or something.
You should go Rocky, man. Clubber Lang. Work out at your place.
Yeah, that's what I do normally. Like I do a bunch of push-ups, sit-ups, and I run.
That's good.
And that's that's all you really need. They just body resistance,
body weight. Yeah, man. I mean that's how I lost the bulk of my weight when I first started, like 3 years ago. I went on a kick. How's your eating?
It's improved a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you, Starbucks. I'm totally kidding. Don't drink this. I'll drink it for you.
I started having that issue earlier last year with the
heartburn.
Like the heartburn.
It sucks, dude.
And I don't know exactly what it is. I tried going to the doctor for it a couple times, and she became more obsessed with the state of my kidneys. Apparently, like
you said that.
Yeah, like she.
Because you had blood work.
Yeah, she did blood work, and because they were trying to figure out, what's
causing the chest stuff.
And she did blood work, and had me pee in a cup and stuff. And then she's just like, your GFR is about 20 lower than it should be for someone your age. I think you're just dehydrated. But then on the online version of this, of like Adventist Health or whatever, which is the company that owns Gordon Hospital now.
Oh shit.
She put that I have non-traumatic acute kidney failure. And I was just like,
traumatic acute kidney failure.
It's like, so sudden, short-lived kidney failure? Like what?
Well,
because my filtration rate or whatever, the GFR, it's like 98. And supposedly for someone my age, it should be like 119.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Is that a big discrepancy? Notice, is that like something to think about, or?
Yeah, as I started considering it, she told me to lay off on caffeine and like drink less sodas, drink more water.
Yeah.
But she didn't really give me any hard and fast orders about that. And I was like, okay, I'll do that and I'll come back. And I went back the next time and I was like, but I still, you're going to give me the referral so I can get the
endoscopy.
The endoscopy.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but I want to talk about your kidneys some more. And I'm just like, I'm not here for my kidneys. Like, I'm glad you're concerned.
Yeah.
I need my referral.
Right, right.
She never got me the referral.
So you never went to get an endoscopy?
No. I ordered a 180 tablet thing of licorice root extract, the DGL.
DGL, man.
And then
that helped me out quite a bit last year.
I cut back on soda almost completely for like 4 or 5 months, and then I kind of relapsed in winter when my brother came over. And
right.
I just got the sun drop over there.
Oh, bro. I recommend these. If you need like something carbonated, but you don't want, the unhealthy benefit. Like this is how I get my water lately. And it tastes like shit. But after the third one, you don't give a shit. And now I enjoy it. You can actually make it at home. Like you just buy club soda, put like lemon or lime in there. Oh, bro, better than a Sprite. Much, much better. But that's good that you've been trying to eat healthier. I'm sorry you didn't get that referral. Like I had to your point, I went to the doctor because I've had it for years, since I was a kid. And it would go back and forth, and it would be like some things trigger it, other things don't. And for most of my life, I didn't really care about it. But then when my mom started to get sick, I was like, I was such an asshole. Dude, I think this is common for people. I don't know. I haven't talked to a psychologist. I probably need to. But whenever my mom really got sick, dude, like... My dad, my mom, my sister were always like, don't worry about it, because I wanted to go to work. And I was in college. It was me and my wife, Katie. At the time we were there, I was interning and everything. I was trying to get freelance work, trying to work and everything. And so they always said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Right. And I remember them asking me to come see my mom. Right. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I'll never forget it because I was on my way to go see them. But before I did, I had to stop by to do an interview with this dude that wanted to hire me to do audio work. He owned this very nice, luxurious spa, basically. And in this spa, he had these very unique chairs. And these chairs were like relaxing chairs. So you'd be in it and they would massage you. And it was really nice. I have to admit, because the setup was nice and dimly lit and like it felt nice. He had music going and he's like, well, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be editing. And I want like an hour. So basically I'll just loop it or whatever. And then I'll make an hour for him and give it to him. And his clients can come in and just relax for this timed thing. So it was like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. But he wanted me to do it. He wanted me to sit there for an hour and then just do it. And I was like, I gotta go see my mom, bro. And he was a sweet guy, a sweet older dude. And very unique name. I can't remember. But anyway, when I got there, he wanted me to do it. I started doing it about half hour in. He's like, I'm sorry, I have to go. But I understand what you're looking for. And he was really concerned that I didn't stay there for the whole hour. He's like, you don't get it yet. I'm like, no. How about I do one of your tunes? And I'll send it to you. If you're happy, you pay me, I'll do more. If not, blah, 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 blah. He ended up liking him, and it was all good. But afterwards, I went to go see my mom. And, dude, I don't know what. I was on a scooter then. So I was taking this scooter from the middle of Atlanta to Emory.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude. And it was intense. I don't know what I was thinking, but I made that drive all the time because I would work in and around Atlanta all the time on a scooter.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So like you can think about Sandy Springs.
How are you alive?
I know. Dude, Sandy Springs. I got on 285 once with it, dude. It was hilarious. But like Sandy Springs to inner city Atlanta through whole world. I was an audio engineer there. And then that day I went to Emory. But dude, when I saw my mom, when I finally got in there, I was like, this is weird. I just realized I never went to visit my mom at a hospital since she had been sick. And so I got there and I was like, oh, okay. I called my dad, where are you at? And he's like, well, it's so-and-so. I was like, okay. And I go in there. It's dark. Like they have the whole place just dimly lit except the nurse's station. And I didn't understand why. And I think it was to let everyone rest. And it was only like 3 people because they had big, huge rooms. And I guess they were more serious critical condition patients. And that's why they needed the room, because at any time they would need to operate or something like that. And I was like, this is pretty serious. Okay. And then I see my dad at the end of the hall where my mom is, and you can't see anyone. Like they don't have any of the patients visible. They have them all like cordoned off or whatever. And he was there and he had a bed, dude. And he was like, he had clothes there. I'm like, how long have you been here? And he's like, it's been 2 weeks. I'm like, holy shit. Why haven't you told? I didn't know. I thought they were just there.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy. And then I went to go see her and she was just like skin and bones, man. Just skin and bones.
Emaciated.
Yeah. And it was at that point I was like, she's like sick. And it was crazy, man. I'll never forget that. It was so nuts. That day is such a weird day. But I don't know, man. Doctors, I like them because they want to help. You can tell the ones that want to help, but then you can also tell the ones that want to take advantage. And I'm afraid now, seeing like all the stuff that she went through and everything like that, that's exactly what they did. You know, exactly. It's just too coincidental, I think. Yeah. I don't know. But to your point, like I had after all that, that's where I was going. So after all that, I was really, curious about my well-being. I was like, well, what does she have? Because I want to make sure that I can be preventative now, but I feel like that's a very selfish thought, for a son of a mom who's going through so much.
A little bit, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, what your mom's going through is ultimately out of your control. So you want to focus on what you can control, which is you.
Yeah, but it's just so weird, I think about it often because even after that, I realized it was serious. I still was more, well, what am I going to do? Or what can I do? Give them money or see them more. And they kept on saying, nah, just do your thing. Do your thing. It was wild, man. It was very strange, that whole thing. But I think that just helped me kind of alienate it from my mind. Yeah, I don't know if that's healthy or not, though.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
I don't know how my brothers are feeling because, I moved back home after the Navy. And then, 2 years later when my mom gets diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which is now spread to her lung, spine, and liver.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I'm at home for it. So, I see when she comes home and she's sick and she can't eat and stuff like that. And I'm very close to it. So, if she needs anything, she just has to ask me.
Yeah.
And she actually doesn't ask me for much because, I sort of explained to you, my mental pitfall earlier.
Dude. Absolutely.
When I got home from that, because, my parents found, I told my brother, and I told him not to tell my parents about it. He told him anyway.
Oh, shit.
And, didn't know how to deal with it at all. So they just, they think I'm, mentally broken and, destitute in the head. So...
So what, how do they treat you then?
Sort of distantly,
Distant.
My mom thinks that I hate her for some reason.
Oh, man.
And I got into a fist fight with my dad at the beginning of 2018.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And
why? I mean, was he just upset or something? Or?
He was upset. He wanted me to do some yard work, and I told him, you know, I have plans. I'm busy right now till 4 p.m. and I'll help you at 4 p.m. until the sun goes down.
Okay.
He didn't want to wait till 4 p.m. So he comes yelling at me, and I yelled at him back, and then he like took this. It's like a barbed wire spool that we were using as like a dog barrier. He like improvised weaponry, like pushed me into the wall with it. It was this whole huge thing.
Holy shit, man!
And like you know, like I pushed it down, punched him in the face. He's got a spinal condition where he's got metal brace. He had to get a surgery. He had his nut open, like his vertebrae like collapse on one another. So like he had to get metal spacers put in to prevent his spine from his vertebrae from pinching his spinal column and turning him into a quadriplegic.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I punched him in the face, I became very afraid that I was going to hurt his neck.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was also a no-win situation. If I beat him up, no matter how angry I am, all I did is beat up a sick old man.
Right.
And then my mom started screaming, and like I had my hand around his throat, and he was punching me in the face repeatedly. Like he punched me hard. Like he was a Green Beret, so like
shit.
Like he was 69 at the time, but like
69. Even
so, like he hit me in the face hard enough to give me a black eye and to bust my lip open.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he kept swinging like after I had stopped, because like I stopped pretty much the second my mom started screaming, because like I just felt like shit, man. It's just like,
I mean, anyone would. Absolutely.
Like, it's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Like if I did beat him up, you know, he'd probably be in the hospital, and then, you know, I probably would have gotten kicked out, and I didn't want that because I don't want to have to pay rent. But
hey, it's tough, man. That's a tough situation. Jeez, man.
Yeah, but after that, like,
is that common? Like, what incidents like that common when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, you know, I was like never big enough to actually like fight back. But yeah, he used to beat me up occasionally. Like,
oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Not like a beating, but like we got paddled as kids, and then there was this one time I remember very clearly. I was 15. Relative of ours sent us money, you know, like for Christmas or for birthday or something.
Okay.
It's like $20. You know, it's like every time they do that, our parents had us sit down, me and my brothers, and write thank you notes to them. So I sat down.
That's sweet. I
wrote the thank you note.
Yeah.
It's a little less sweet when it's compulsory, like you have to, like.
Sure.
But
the thoughts, I understand. Yeah.
But I love my Aunt Dixie, and she's gone now, so.
Yeah.
I had no problem writing it, so I wrote it, but I don't know how to address an envelope properly. So like, I asked him, hey, you know, I've wrote the thank you letter. It's in the envelope. I just need to address the envelope. How do I address the envelope?
Yeah.
And he was just like, didn't they teach you that in school? I was like, actually, no. Or at least I don't remember.
I don't remember that. Maybe like in 3rd grade.
And he's just like, he's the kind of guy that gets really angry really easily.
Yeah.
Short fuse. And he just like started punching me in the head. And like my mom had to stop him.
Holy shit.
And he hit me, I think, 4 times.
Yeah.
And upset me completely. I went to the garage and I got an aluminum baseball bat, and I was like, you stay the fuck away from me, sort of thing, you know. And it's just like, I mean, that's like the biggest one, really. Like, other than that, it was just like I'd get spankings if I was acted out or anything. But like, yeah, he had no problem if like we were being shitty enough in his opinion.
Yeah,
he would just
snap. That's wild, man. That's heavy.
Yeah, I mean,
but I know a lot of people that happened to that we grew up with.
Yeah, to be fair, he was actually like a good dad.
Yeah.
Really smart. He's like in the Army for 31 years.
Oh wow.
Like I said, Green Beret, all that jazz, and like I do owe him a lot because like he's a history buff. He'd go on these rants about history and take us to all these battlefields and stuff. And so like in school, like I aced pretty much every social studies, every history course I was ever in.
I remember.
Because like it was just like, and even when I got to AP US History in, what was it, junior year? Like I made like an 89, and then it was the only AP test I ever actually did well enough on to get college credit with.
Whoa.
And it's all just from like listening to his historical rants. And just like, oh, I remember this. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, like I love my dad and I love my mom, like regardless of anything, shitty that's happened. Um, but like, now since you moving back home after the Navy, just, you know, there's like a divide.
Tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, well, I hope it alleviates here soon for you.
That'll be.
I mean, that's gotta be tough to live in. And I mean, we were talking about it earlier. We all have those kind of tensions, and definitely didn't foresee any of them growing up.
No, not at all.
Yeah. We talked about mental health earlier. That's a big one. One that I don't think enough people talk about, because, I mean, I don't think I ever had, we're talking about, thoughts and everything. Like, I remember being so down or like so, it's strange because when I try to, it's hard being unbiased on yourself, but I would try to like be, very logical about what would be going on with me. And I was like, well, anything that's going on in my life, something is causing me to be unhappy or, anxious, paranoid, and we definitely didn't help that. It would help sometimes, but the more it would hurt more and kind of mask what I think what was my problem. And I think now, dude, it's weird, but I think now the biggest thing that if I look back, it was, neglecting how I felt about everything with my parents' situation, and then how I felt about like my marital situation. And it really wasn't even Katie or anything like that at all. I think it was just complacency. Like it's strange. I think that's why I was a musician when I was younger, because like I saw my dad working at like a industrial factory. It was Cabelco. I don't know if you remember that in Calhoun. It was a manufacturing plant for like big construction equipment.
They do have a lot of manufacturing plants there. Actually, it wasn't Cabelco, but I worked in Liberty tire recycling plant there for a couple months until I got injured. And yeah, they got all sorts of industry back there.
Yeah. It's weird thinking about it now, because I mean, you never think about that when you're growing up.
Yeah, not at all. It's like right behind the Walmart.
I know. It's like right there. But yeah, I remember seeing him. He never brought his work home at all, but I really admire, because he was a preacher, and I admired him, going over, starting a church. I admire it now. I didn't at the time, but
yeah, when you're little, it's hard to appreciate. You don't have a scope.
You don't see. Yeah. You're just like, well, this is today. Yeah, but now thinking about it, dude, he would go and build like this church in tandem with either himself or with help from when I was younger, I call it a white church, because it was just a bunch of white people. It was hilarious. And that's just how I viewed it. And I think my dad called it that too, which didn't help. But I mean, at the same time, they would help, because I don't know if perception, it was so weird. Like I still don't know why they would help him out. This random Hispanic dude wanted to start a church, and they're like, yeah, we'll start a church. And they would help him with finding the right building. And then like their youth group would come out. And I remember painting one of them, and it was a very collaborative effort. And at the end, his sermons weren't really about, you should learn this lesson, you should watch out. It was more like, so shit went down in the Bible, just love each other, now let's eat. That was all of them.
Well, hey, religion is a powerful community staple, and like as divisive as it can be, for a lot of people, it brings people together. Like it makes them.
It does. Are you religious?
I used to be. Like growing up, I was raised Christian. My mom's like super, super duper Christian.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
My dad, it was some flavor of Christian, but he wound up sort of becoming like a deist.
What's a deist?
We learned about it in school some. Like the founding fathers were like deists. They believed like God is like a clockmaker. He like wound it up, created it, and then sort of just watches it, and he doesn't like interact. Like my dad is
okay.
My dad's Christian, but he doesn't believe that God interacts with his creation at all.
Okay. So he still believes in Christianity,
Yeah.
but there's no interaction at all between us and him.
Right.
That's the idea.
Like, that's the simplest way to put it.
I see.
I've
Okay.
never really questioned him rigorously about it because I don't I don't like talking about it too much.
Sure.
I sort of went through a crisis of like faith
Uh-huh.
in the Navy, and I just sort of I kind of let it go, I guess. I just sort of like,
That's fair.
I don't like, I told you about being in the the sanitation room with the saw and the
Right.
cutting and the whatnot.
Yeah.
And just like when I was at that lowest point,
Mhm.
and I just felt nothing divine at all, like uplift me and stop me, or
Something.
something,
Yeah.
nothing at all. The only thing that stopped me was the pain and the
Mhm.
fact that I was I was even too incompetent, to actually get the saw to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of like I don't have anything against it.
Religion, you mean?
Religion,
Mm.
and nothing against Christianity. I don't like Islam,
Oh.
but mainly for the extremism side of it, but also the tacit approval, like the complacency of the moderates within it. That like there's a whole slew of them that not to be
I think it's fair to criticize any religion,
but
and this audience needs to understand that there's going to be people with different opinions,
yeah,
and it's okay to voice those opinions. Debate and conversation is how we all are individuals. It's okay.
religion of peace, not so much.
Yeah. I mean, I can dig it. I don't know. That's the thing with me is like I've heard so much through podcasts or anything about Islam as a religion, or is that the same as Muslim? Islam is and
Yeah.
yeah, okay. See, I don't even know that.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to really decipher.
I don't know what the specifics of like changing what you call it is like.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, for me, there's extremists in every
There is.
religion, because I mean, a lot of the reason why that, like, I think it was Thailand. I have a friend of mine that's from Thailand, and I remember in college we went to Disney together. Him and his mom, me and Katie, we all drove out there. It was really cool. But that's where I learned that he was a Christian. I was like, holy shit, bro, you're from Thailand. What you doing? And then he told me, yeah, my whole family is. Everyone is where I live. And I'm like, where I came from. I'm like, what? And then I would do some reading. I was like, well, those are the Crusades, bro. Like, they went everywhere. And I'm like, those would be violent Christian extremists if that happened right now.
Yep.
I mean, killing anyone that didn't believe that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, we all have our fair share.
Yeah, it's true.
But that's wild, man. So you're saying, though, is the reason you don't like it is because even the moderates, it's not that they condone that kind of behavior, but their religion allows that to happen? Is that the problem?
Allows it to happen, and then also a large portion of them don't like denounce it. Like they'd probably denounce it if you got them on like the air or in a public setting.
Sure.
But like in their everyday life, they're okay with it.
Okay with the idea that there's people out there doing extremist actions.
Things to spread the faith. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. I mean,
but honestly, I don't think about religion too much. Like I just
Gotcha.
I'm really more of a, well, I want to say I'm chill, but then I'm just always online with the political junk.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's something that we can at least control.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really too religious either. I was in high school, and I don't know if you remember any of that. Thank God if you don't.
I don't.
Thank
What I remember about you from high school.
Oh,
was
no.
I had
Here we go.
I had a few classes with you. I
Yes,
thought
sir.
you were cool. I thought you were like one of the more popular dudes, and just like
I don't see how.
like yeah, I was coming from this angle that I'm this nerdy kid, and like my best friends are all nerdy kids, so we sit at this nerdy table together, and like
Uh-huh.
I don't have a problem with anyone. No one has a problem with me, but I'm not like this popular figure that like people. But there you are, like your slash hair and your guitar, and like
Damn,
playing
dude.
Crazy Train. And I'm just
Something's
like,
wrong with me. That's wild, man. I don't know.
like your camo jacket.
What was with that?
I don't know. It was just like part of your look.
Weird.
At
Nah,
least
man.
for sometimes. But then like we had, I thought it was really amusing, like catching back up with you on Facebook a little bit, like whatever year we added one another, and then like
Yeah.
sort of like getting a peek into your life as it went along, and like you became like a video editor and like like this whole stuff.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was very amusing because like when we had technology together with Mr. Rainey,
I remember this. Yeah.
you know, there's the one module in his class where it's like one people they change all the video stuff, and then the other the module they work with are the ones that have the cameras,
Right.
and like you had this like little like glee in your like facial expression and eye that like you were like really enjoying it.
Really?
Yeah, and like I just thought it was interesting. Like, it's at the time I would have never thought like, oh, he really likes this module. He's gonna be a video. Like,
that's interesting. I didn't even know that.
but in retrospect, it's just like, man, I could see that. Like, wow, I didn't know he enjoyed that module that much. Like,
that's so interesting. I remember that class because one of the last things because we all rotated.
yeah, we rotated around the modules.
Yeah.
So like, the ones that were doing the camera work would then like when the rotation happened, they'd rotate into the editing booth or whatever.
Right.
And then, you know, once both had done it, they'd go on to whatever other module, like the automation one, the one with like the wind tunnel.
Yeah. That was interesting. I remember, now it's all coming back to me. I remember doing audio, and then they had all the effects or whatever, and I was like, this is so cool. I didn't remember doing the camera or the video stuff too often.
They were real simple. They were just like camcorders on like tripods.
Right. Well, what did you like one of them more?
I liked both of them. The module I remember the most is the really simplistic robot arm.
Right.
And,
yeah.
like, you put in the like simplified program instructions that are like pre-programmed instructions, but you put them in like move to this coordinate, move to this coordinate, move to this coordinate.
Yeah.
You know, pinch.
Uh-huh.
And so like the goal was to get it to open a bottle.
Oh.
Whatever, and then, like,
yeah.
It's like took 28 steps.
28 little actions.
Yeah, and you had to have the bottle in the right spot.
Right. And now, like with fucking DARPA or whatever, they're just going, or Boston Dynamics, they're going crazy. They can do flips, and that's so nuts. Never in my lifetime I thought that would happen.
Dude, technology is like, it seems like it's advancing slowly, but every time I look back into the past and think about it, and I'm just like, no, it's going so fast.
Yeah, exponentially. Well, I mean, I'm curious because you're saying you're thinking about what your aspirations may be. Is some of them video game related? Or stuff like this where it's, media?
I started doing, like the end of last year, I started doing Let's Plays on YouTube.
I've seen, yeah.
And obviously I have like no audience, but it's just sort of a hobby right now. But I figure I'll probably keep doing that like on the side, just sort of as like a, I don't know, I just enjoy it. Like there's something
that's all that matters, man.
Enjoyable about sort of being able to voice what you think about a part of a game.
Yeah.
Even if like only a few people are going to watch it. Like,
yeah, dude. I mean, the same with this. I mean, we're going to be like a 2-hour show. It'll get like a few views, but I mean, it's all about time and pressure. So if you enjoy something like that, you should totally do the fuck out of it, dude. Because I mean, if you look back at all the people that are more prominent now,
yeah, they started out as, everyone starts with like no viewership.
Well, and with their content, being pretty rudimentary, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, And I wouldn't even because what you're doing now, people are getting paid and making it a career and not even going further than the quality that it is now. It's just them, their voice, and the game.
Is a knock at the door?
I'm pretty sure it's Amazon. I ordered some Whole 30 ketchup. Super good. I love ketchup, but I can never have it because of the high fructose corn syrup. And so I was like, I want something because every weekend I'll have like this big, amazing breakfast, right? And that's like my real cheat that week. And I always have it with ketchup, and like I was trying to find different things, but hopefully that's what it is.
Okay, maybe it's an axe murderer though.
Oh, well, we'll get it on camera, dude. I thought about stuff like that. Like if it happens, it happens. What can you do? That's what I did about like my health and stuff is like, cause I had an endoscopy because I had heartburn for years. And, first it was like, oh, my appendix, oh, my stomach, oh, it's cancer, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, well, logic. cut bad stuff out of the diet, get a little healthier, talk to more people, get a little happier. And then I had an endoscopy, and they were like, well, you have Barrett's esophagus, but it's only slight scarring. So technically it's Barrett's esophagus, but there's nothing there. The cells haven't changed. Nothing's precancerous. And given your history, nothing will probably develop because you've had it several times in your life. I was like, that's great news.
That is good news.
It's pretty good news, but I mean, it's all about being preemptive. So trying to live healthier and everything, that's been a thing. But we were talking about media.
Oh, I don't really care where the conversation goes. Like, we don't have to always jump back to the point.
Oh no, but I'm interested, because I like it whenever people do things that they enjoy, and that ultimately, even though I love the job I'm in, it comes with its own bureaucracies, its own politics, and this stupid 9 to 6 schedule that no matter what job I'm in, and it's not personal, it's an ideological issue in my view. It's the most stupid thing ever. No human being should be forced to come in and then just look busy sometimes.
For 9 hours.
For 9 fucking hours, collect a paycheck and say, thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Because then Riley and I talked about this too, where it's even on the most positive scheduling, you may have an additional 8 hours to spend with loved ones, spend doing what you want to do, and then only 2 days a week where you really get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And even then it's going to be busy.
Yeah, because you're going to have to be doing other stuff too. It's
catching up on shit.
Catching up, and then also maybe you want to have date night, or you want to have, you want to go somewhere
Right.
Yeah.
It sucks. So
I have work tonight after I get back home. Because I work 11 to 7.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, you work tonight? I was like, yeah. You're going down to Buford and you work tonight? And I'm just like, yeah.
I'm so sorry, man.
Well, it's okay. I don't care because all I'm going to do is play video games at home anyway because my girlfriend has college until 6 today.
Gotcha.
Her Thursday this semester is busy for her. She gets up and she leaves her house at 6:30, goes down to KSU, and is in class from 8 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
But only on Thursday. But long day for her.
Right.
But yeah, as a result, I can't wake up early to go hang out with her.
Right.
I was like, I want to come be on this podcast.
Yeah. Which I'm appreciative, man. I mean,
and I would have done Tuesday because that was my off day, but it would have honestly, if we tried to do Tuesday and I tried to woke up and do it in the morning, dude, I would have been fucked. Cause
I can imagine you're with your schedule, dude, sleep and health, some of the most important things. Take care of yourself, buddy. We can do this whenever it's comfortable and convenient for you. And I'm appreciative, man. Anytime you want to be on here, let me know. Or if you want to get into it, the production aspect, let me know, because there is nothing easier. I was telling Riley this too. we went out to go. I took her out to dinner afterwards, and I was letting her know that, okay, so video work, if you have a creative mind, which I think everyone has the capability.
They do.
Yeah.
It's just some people don't they don't think that way until they get forced to think that way.
Right. Through a situation.
Yeah.
But with video work, even though when it comes to the nuances, that'll take time and experience, but just to get in and just to shoot something and just to do this, just from the way technology is, it can never be easier now to do it. Look at this. This with this and that 10 years ago would have been a $50,000 production.
Good grief.
If not more. Absolutely. But now it's accessible to anyone, and it's not even that expensive, or just breaking in like you were saying. How do you record your video? Elgato?
No. The PS4 itself has its own recording, and it can record up to an hour of gameplay by itself automatically. I didn't know that. And you can switch it from an hour all the way down to 10 seconds.
Okay.
And then you can take a clip anytime you want. There's also they have something called Share Factory, which is a freeware video editing program. It's very basic.
What?
And I haven't actually used Share Factory yet, but I could layer a video and some audio on top of one another.
Yeah.
It's very basic Share Factory, but it's there.
Right.
And there's ways with like thumb drives and stuff to move the video files around, and like you can put a smaller video like in the corner, like if I wanted to have like
picture in picture.
Picture in picture, yeah.
Right, like your webcam.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't beat that shit, man.
But it would be, like, because it's not simultaneous like recording, I couldn't record like I'd have to do like a post like this is my reaction to this part of the video.
Right, yeah.
Because it's not, it's not exactly, it's a game console. Like the fact that it even has this,
Yeah. The capability of recording video at all.
Yeah. And then as far as my mic goes, I'm like super big into Dark Souls, so.
No, I didn't notice.
That guy that does all the lore videos, Vati Vidya, the Australian dude.
I know this guy.
Creamy, smooth voice,
Very nice.
Now married, has a kid, like it's ridiculous.
Holy shit. I remember whenever I first watched one of his videos.
Yeah, he's got a sponsorship occasionally from whatever, and he had this Dropbox or whatever. Was it Dropbox? Mass Drop? Something. And then he advertised this headset or whatever that apparently he used to use that has a mic on it. It's pretty good.
A good starter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like $100, and with the discount I got through going through his link, and it's a pretty damn good headset. Like for just like $100. Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, I would have thought you had a beginner blue mic, and then you were going through Elgato and editing it or getting it through Premiere or something. I would have thought that.
I've been looking into Elgato because there are some things I want to like record off of like GameCube or like off of like.
I got one. You want it? Because take it off my hands. I'm not doing shit with it. Honestly, we can talk about it after.
I'll get afterwards, maybe. And maybe not today, but maybe like I look into it a little more. Or,
no, I'm saying you can use it. I'm not using it. You can take it with you. I don't use it, and I was thinking like trying to get a way to get this camera into here, and because it can record up to like 4K or whatever. Or I was thinking it'd be easy just to get an HDMI out in there and then being able to see it either in OBS or something. But that's not the case. They have some weird codec in there that only makes it so you can record gameplay footage. So it has to be coming out of a console or something like that. Other people have made, boxes or bot boxes where it's 2 HDMIs and it breaks that codec somehow. But that's too much work. And I'm thinking now I might just get like a few cam links because they all do 4K. Bring them all because I want to have ultimately 3 cameras, one here, one for you, one for me. And Blackmagic makes this very nice, dude, cheap, $300 audio, a video switcher. You can send in the audio from this guy into this switcher, have up to 4 inputs, have OBS just read this controller, and then edit it on the fly. So while we're going, your camera, my camera, $300. That's nuts. It's crazy. So like the entry, you can't beat it, dude. You can't beat that.
I just started getting into OBS. Like I just downloaded it like 3 days ago.
And it's free. What the hell's that about? There's even free audio software, and it's crazy. Like if you think about it, right now it's the same exact thing as it was 100 years ago for TV or for film.
Yeah.
Like the talkies just came out. Like not even that actually. 1920, maybe it was just black and white footage, and
it was like rudimentary television at that point. Radio was like the common man's thing.
Right. But now it's like this podcast long form stuff is just now getting a renaissance thanks to Joe Rogan, I think. There's other people out there, but for some reason.
He's a big name.
Yeah, all of a sudden. I was watching him for a few years, but now everyone's like, he's got a big platform and it's a problem.
My brother watches him a lot.
Yeah?
I haven't watched him too much. I like occasionally I will.
Yeah.
But I am not a regular.
No, I mean, it depends for me. Sometimes he'll get into things that I click with, and he's a big fighter dude, and I commend that. I think it's, really important to stay healthy and everything. And when he talks about those kind of things with, guests that have books and are PhDs and, are scientists or even people that are nutrition specialists, like I love hearing about that shit personally. And sometimes you'll get like Philly D gets on there. Or, I don't know if you know IGN, Colin Moriarty. He was on there once before. I watch too much game stuff, man. It's terrible.
I watch a lot of game stuff, but I watch like guys who are like into niche things.
Yeah. Like Dark Souls. Yeah.
Dark Souls.
Even though I don't think that's niche anymore.
It's not niche anymore.
Yeah.
But like Fire Emblem.
Oh, bro.
Like it doesn't seem like it'd be niche, but like
it is totally niche.
The biggest YouTubers for it is like some European dude named like Mangs or whatever, and
yeah,
he's got like I think like maybe 100,000 subscribers,
yeah.
maybe, and he's like the biggest one.
Well, dude, I mean, but that's my point.
Like,
is like, and that's what one thing Joe Rogan said that I didn't believe for the longest time, but now I do. Dude, the world is so big. There are billions of people, no matter, and it's so new. It's basically like it was 100 years ago. It's the wild fucking West out here. You could create content. There's going to be an audience for it. You know, you just have to create it, cultivate it, you know, long form. He took 10 years. I don't think if I continued to do this, it would take 10 years to get to that point. Maybe not, maybe so. But the point is you don't know until you try. And no matter how, if you're talking about Fire Emblem, you know, or Dark Souls, no one's going to have your voice. You're you. People are going to have different interpretations about this stuff. So would you like to get into that kind of like gaming and streaming the gameplay and all that jazz?
I don't know about streaming, but I'm going to keep doing Let's Plays, and then I might get into streaming eventually because it's kind of like an inevitability, like,
oh, okay,
in some ways, because like people want to see, like, if you get enough of an audience, they'll be like, gonna do a stream. Like,
is that right?
Yeah, and then also just like other guys who do it, like the Fire Emblem community on YouTube, they collab all the time. They do like
I love that
dual streams, and like recently, I don't think the Mangs guy was in it, but the Fire Emblem guy I really follow is like, his name is Mecha with like 3Ks. He's got like 34,000 subscribers, and like he did a draft race for like Fire Emblem 8 Sacred Stones on the Game Boy Advance or whatever, and it was him, 2 speedrunners for the game from like any game done quick or whatever, and then one like guy who's never had like any speedrunning experience at all, and it's like the completion time for all of them was basically like the speedrunner guy that seemed to have like the most advantage, who like did it at ADGQ or whatever. Mm-hmm. He completed the game in like 3 hours and 14 minutes.
That's fucking crazy.
And then Mecha completed it about 51 minutes later than that. So like 4 hours and like 5 minutes.
Jesus.
And then the guy who came in third was like 45 minutes after that. And then the guy with no speedrunning experience, he was like 6 hours.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that like I was just like a lot of people were like, you know, I think the guy who won the draft race, his name's like Gwimpage or something like that. It's like he just came to assert his dominance. And it's just like, well, I mean, he's the guy who did this game at any game done quick. Like,
yeah,
of course he's gonna do better than everyone else. But the guy with no speedrun experience, I was like, I don't think I've ever completed a Fire Emblem game in under 7 hours.
Those games are meant to be like 20, 30 hour
like you're supposed to take your time and like strategize.
Yeah.
And it's just like they've got the strategy down so pat that like
they're able to get those short run times.
Yeah.
But 6, that's impressive.
Yeah, like no experience. Like,
wow.
Like he did like one practice run like day before.
Oh, that's nothing.
And it's just like,
yeah,
just like, dude, like still, holy shit. You know?
Yeah. Speedrunning is a beautiful thing, man.
But like, it was just interesting to see it in like the context of like it was on stream.
Yeah.
And they were racing.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's like 1,700 people watching. And
wow. No way.
I'm just like, 1,700 people doesn't sound like a lot, but like
that's a lot of people.
A fucking lot of people.
I think
that's like you know, I don't know if it's a stadium worth of people, but damn.
I mean, 1,700 people would throw down the house. I'd love that. I mean, that's what I was trying to think is like, you know, because the goals for this podcast, it's like, okay, so what would be ideal for the first year? You know what I mean? And I was trying to think of something that's attainable and think of something that's positive, a good goal that even if I don't meet, it's, you know, even half that would be great. You know what I mean? Or a third would be like pretty dope. But like then I was thinking, well, what would it take for me to be able to live off this? You know what I mean? I was like, okay, well, my budget is so and so, you know, and so like, what would it take to get that? And if it's compelling enough content, you know, if people would sit down, listen to it, or even to your, like, listen to it on the treadmill or just have it playing in the background or something like that. what would it take? So I was like, I think 10,000 views on every video. So that's like 10,000 subscribers, 15,000, whatever. Like 10,000 consistent, I think would be it, because even if 1/3 of the 10,000 or 1/4 of the 10,000 like help me through Patreon through $1, they get an extra episode. That's what it is now. It's a little below where I am now, and that's like $4,000 a month. Come on, man, that's livable. And I was like, okay, so that would be my goal for this year. I don't think I'm gonna hit it, but I think it's good to have that, and and try to cultivate. And I'm trying to do it every week. You know, even with like other things. You know, like having yourself, which I'm appreciative, and I was thinking like I want people to come back on, but I don't think I'll have someone until like 3 or 6 months, and then, well, that's like a good amount of guests. That's, I think 6 months is like what, 26 people. That's 26 guests, and then we'll do doubles. That would be interesting, but I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. How about yourself? Do you have goals for your channel? You're just having fun with it, just
having fun with it for right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually not enjoying the Dark Souls 2 Let's Play. I mean, I am to an extent, but I'm not, because it's Dark Souls 2.
Not a fan. Because
no.
I thought that's where it got popularized.
Sort of.
Oh no, forgive me. It was Demon Souls.
It was Demon Souls, Dark Souls.
And Dark Souls was the one that was open world.
Dark Souls is the one where it got popular, yeah.
Yeah. Because it was just like, oh, there's no loading screens. Is that right?
Well, that's true. A little bit. Like when you die, there's a loading screen. When you...
I mean, but theoretically, you can just walk anywhere.
Yeah. It's an intertwined, like... It's all one thing. You just keep going.
That's crazy, dude.
But,
I like those games. I'll admit it. I played Demon Souls, beat it, and that was hard. Fun, but hard. And then I didn't play Dark Souls 1, 2, got into Bloodborne, and I got to the point where I was like, fuck this game. And I remember listening to someone on IGN or whatever, and they were like, just get in there. Do it. You're going to be worth it. And I'm like, all right, motherfucker, here we go. And it was one of my favorite games in the past 10 years. But I couldn't do that with Sekiro. I couldn't. I know you can. I can. Because you were in the same place too, right? You said, I remember on Facebook, you were like, fuck this game.
It's a little too much, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, basically, I did a path that you can do first, technically, which is going into the Harada Estates memory and going and fighting Lady Butterfly. And that was my first boss. And that was my first area. I went all the way through that area. I didn't gain 4 prayer beads. I had like 3 prayer beads by the time I got to her. So I didn't have any health grapes, any attack upgrades. And I had like, I think 2 gourds or something. I got I recorded when I killed her. So
oh, nice.
The like 5-minute clip of like when I finally killed her.
And you're like, oh god.
That was like attempt number 90, and like, see, the fight got in my head so bad that like I was like trying to beat this chick for like 2 days, and like I'm trying to beat her before I go to work, trying to beat her before I go to work.
Yeah.
And I didn't beat her before I went to work. So I came home from work in the morning just pissed off. And I sit down and I start fighting her. I fought her for like 3.5 more hours or 2.5 more hours or something. And then like when I finally killed her, and like, it's like a very bloody game when you finally shove the sword in.
Oh,
like,
right.
Like the blood just like everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can turn that off actually, but I'm just like, no.
Lame.
I like stand up and I'm like screaming at my 51-inch plasma TV. I'm just like, fuck you.
Dude, that is one of the best feelings.
Yeah. But that after that, like the rest of the game is sort of that, like after that, I understood the game, and it just, the rest of it for me, like, I think, I didn't have any issues with bosses for the most part. Like, I think Genichiro on the rooftop, that's where the game clicks for most people.
Yeah.
He took me about 11 tries. And then after that, like, no problems with any bosses. Not even really Guardian Ape. Guardian Ape was like 6 tries.
Yeah.
And I beat him by mostly sprint. That was when I finally learned that there is no stamina meter, and I can just sprint endlessly.
There you go.
And huge battlefield, so why not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But no problems until the very last boss on the. I guess the first ending I got was the one with the little rice girl, because I'm the kind of guy who takes a lot of hits, and I need that fucking rice.
Okay.
Every time I like went up against a boss attempt, it's like, gotta go talk to the little rice girl again,
Yeah,
get some
right.
rice, gotta get that extra healing item.
Yeah.
And so just by doing that, like, I kept seeing her storyline, and I'm like, I've played From Software games before, so like I played all of them, right? Like I started with Dark Souls 1, and that was in the Navy. My Navy buddies got me into Dark Souls. They were talking about it in nuclear power school. Like, we're sitting there in our electrician class, and I keep hearing them talk about these bells and going to ring the first one. It's like, did you know that if you start with the master key, you can go down to that second one first? And they're like, oh no way! Like,
Oh my
God. When it was like new,
Yeah.
And
Well, that's one of the appeals of those games, is that there's no strategy guide, and it's word of mouth that kind of spreads the little things like that.
So, like, the reason I didn't like the second one when it came out, right? And I was all hyped for it. I went to the midnight release at like the GameStop. Like,
Oh shit!
I got off work at 10:30 at night from working on the submarine, and I fucking drove into town, drove to GameStop. I had to be at work for duty the next day at 6 a.m. by the way.
Oh god!
So I go and I get my pre-ordered copy of Dark Souls 2, and it comes with a big, thick strategy guide. I'm just like, okay.
Huh?
And then I go into the game, and it became very apparent right away that it wasn't the same team that did Dark Souls 1. And it's true, it wasn't. It was like From Software's B team.
Okay.
And like Hidetaka Miyazaki, I think is the director's name, that did Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne and Demon Souls.
Yeah.
and
He
Dark
didn't
Souls
do this.
He didn't do Dark. He like co-directed it. Like, it had a different guy from Software
Gotcha.
do it.
Gotcha.
Because he was still working on Bloodborne. They started work
Right.
They started work for Bloodborne
After Dark Souls.
after, like, during the development time for the Artorias of the Abyss
The DLC.
for the first one. And that's why there's a character named Marvelous Chester who appears, and he's got like a top hat and a long brown coat,
Right.
and he fights by throwing knives and shooting this big crossbow,
Right.
because he's supposed to reflect on being a hunter from Yharnam.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm playing Dark Souls 2. That's 2014. And I start as the Deprived because that's what I started as in Dark Souls 1. But in Dark Souls 1, every class, including the Deprived, has a weapon and a shield. In Dark Souls 2, the Deprived has nothing. Nothing. So you've got to punch stuff to death with your fists.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, that's not that big of a deal. But the way they decided to do monster layout in the original Dark Souls 2, you get swarmed.
Yeah. It's more smaller enemies coming at you. It's not more. It's less one-on-one.
Less one-on-one, lots of swarm. And so coming out of the tutorial, the first weapon you get in Dark Souls 2, if you're Deprived, is a dagger.
Mm.
And it's better than your bare fists, but it's a dagger.
Yeah. Against swarms.
Huh. So I'm just like totally fucked. Like the beginning of Dark Souls 2 for me was a nightmare because, like, even though I was decently good at Dark Souls 1, and I'd done like multiple playthroughs of it, Dark Souls 2, they did enough changes to the way the game actually played that, I probably would have been fine if I started it as like the knight or like even the explorer who starts with like a dagger, but he has like some clothes on.
Right.
Stuff. Just like, it was so hard to get into, but I got into it, right, and I started getting past it and pushing past it. And I met the NPC Lucatiel, who's like this chick who wears like a Don Quixote mask, and like she's trying to hide the fact that she's hollowing, like And at some point she pulls it off to show you once you've done a few boss battles with her, and she's just like, psh, and she's got like the Luca Blight from Captain Planet thing going on, where part of her face is just like
yeah.
But she's still beautiful, and it's just like,
of course,
I don't care about the fact that. Do you see me, lady? You see who you're talking to?
I'm fucking dead over here.
I'm like, all my skin is green, and I'm missing all my hair because I've died like 20 times in a row.
Yeah. But you weren't a fan of the second game.
No. Basically, once I came to the conclusion of Lucatiel's quest line, which for me concluded prematurely because I missed her location in the what's the place? It's basically beneath the blight town of the second game. It's called like the gutter, and then you get down
like a big sewer.
It's you get down and it's a dark cave called Black Gulch. And it's got all these poison pools, these giant leech monsters. It's got these statues that spit poison acid on you.
Terrible.
Really, it is terrible because it's literally the level design for it is you walking down this cave path, and it's literally lined with those statues all the way to the boss.
Oh shit!
And then there's those puddles of like oil or whatever with the leeches in them.
Yeah.
Not every single one of them has a leech in it, and you can light them on fire to get them out with like a torch or something. But it's just like you basically wade through shit.
Yeah.
And then the boss is really easy. It's like the Rotten or something.
Right.
And she's like, there's like a sheer cliff drop on the right. And she's like, you gotta know where to drop off and drop down there and talk to her and then climb back up, fight through 3 giants, climb back up like this other elevator. And then her summon sign will be next to this bonfire that's in a hidden cave alcove that like is over here that you won't even see. I missed it. And then I got to Drangley Castle, and it's actually really close to the end of the game. I know now. But then I was just like, yeah, I'm tired of this. And
so you just stopped.
I just stopped.
Yeah.
And then I didn't revisit Dark Souls 2 until 2017 when the Ringed City DLC came out for Dark Souls 3, and they said that it's going to be the last Dark Souls content. And I was just like, well, I never did 2, so
yeah.
I went back and played through 2. And I played through it once co-op with my friend Damien, who's a friend of mine from Final Fantasy 14.
Hell yeah.
And then
that's online, right?
Yeah, it's MMO online. It's the second Final Fantasy MMO. I played the first Final Fantasy online while I was in high school.
Yeah.
I would get home from school and I would play that like nonstop.
Yeah.
Until bedtime.
I remember the trailers for that, man. It looks sick.
It had a very good story, but honestly, like, I can't talk about it objectively because I enjoyed it so much while I was like a teenager that like it's actually not that good of a game, like gameplay wise.
But that's good that you can say that. I feel the same way, dude.
It's like it's an older style MMO, like 1 year older than World of Warcraft and like 1 year younger than like EverQuest 2.
Gotcha.
So it's like it plays like EverQuest, but not really. And then like it's kind of clunky and unforgiving.
Right.
And just like that was the first one, and then going to play the second one in 2013 was just sort of like, the fuck is this? I can dodge stuff?
Right. Yeah, man. I think the closest I've ever gotten to an MMO is Warframe. And I got sucked in, dude. I made some friends on there that hopefully listen to this podcast. They better, those motherfuckers. If not, I have to tell them because, they all live lives. But I met those guys and I loved it. I never really got into online gameplay up until that point. And when I did, it just sucked me in. So much so that eventually I had to stop. So basically, it's the kind of loop where you go in, you do a mission, you get out. But in that mission, you get these cards if they drop, and if you get a certain percentage of kills or whatever, like there's all this shit that goes into it. You've played Warframe?
I have not.
All right, so that's basically it. And so keys, these things called keys drops, and then cards drop. The cards are basically your abilities of your Warframe. And so as you get more cards, you can unlock more spaces to fill out rarer cards, and then you can customize your build through that. And the keys are basically keys to these towers, and these towers, the keys are leveled to correspond with the level of the tower. And I think Tower 3 is the highest, or Tower 4, and those towers have all these secret mazes in them. So I got really sucked in at, trying to get to these towers, getting all these keys. And then, I found out that in these towers, rare frames, parts of those frames you can unlock, or if they drop, you can then build your frame when you collect all the pieces. And I got really sucked into that game loop. And I remember one of the reasons I stopped was like, again, 320 hours in, and I was trying to get like this chick Warframe, and like I was the last stop. Like I got all these keys. I raged. I felt so bad, dude. I raged during one of my, runs trying to get these keys because this guy wouldn't fucking leave or like get to the thing so we could leave. Anyway, like I got the key and I got the frame, and afterwards I was like, that was a lot of time I spent, because it was like 3 days nonstop, and I was in college, so I had more free time then, and I enjoyed it. But if this takes off or something like where I can get financially independent and have more time, I want to spend like a year, maybe 2, just in one or many MMOs. You mentioned Star Citizen to stay away from, but dude, it looks sick.
Dude, it does. It does. I'm just worried, like, they've been getting funding from people for, almost a decade now.
Insane.
And, like, just my concern with it is, like, one of my Navy buddies, he was donating it to it, like, when we started living together in an apartment and stuff. And, like, he showed me all sorts of stuff that they were doing with it. And it looked amazing then.
Oh, wow.
And it looks... it looks even more amazing now.
Yeah, well, now they're going to add like a VR component, so you can just be, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're going to live in that game.
But I just keep thinking, like, every year that passes by, they're just like, no, it can't be finished yet because I want to add more to it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, when are you going to give us the product to play?
Yeah. Well, I know that you can, you have access to the beta. Can't people are playing it now, aren't they?
I think. I'm not really sure because I didn't ever get into donating to it.
Got you.
But I think so, because like at the time, I mean, if they can't like openly play it, they can go and see, like they can take a guy through it and they can like get on like the transport, like the train or like the shuttle between like planets and stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks amazing. I'm just worried that there's sort of going to take advantage of the fact that people want to have this perfect experience, and they're just not going to ever deliver on like the finished product.
Like, when is it going to release?
Yeah.
When can it be in public? I agree, man. I mean, like, for me, it's one of those things where as a gamer, that's a big thing now is crunch, like for developers, which is weird because you never really hear about it in any other industry except maybe film with CGI artists, trying to rush to get things done.
Well, a lot of businesses have like a crunch period, but it's not like as bad as like games because of just the nature of programming and all the stuff that goes into games.
Oh, bro, I mean, I'm trying to learn as much as I can because ultimately those are my goals. Is like I want to be able to hop from a film, and then I've already been writing it for the past 4 years, like my series of games, and it's so dope. Like, at least as I'm writing it, as I'm planning it out, and the story, spans like 1,000 years, and there's some crazy shit in there. I can't wait for, obviously for people to play it. But at the same time, it's like designing a game is a fucking crazy endeavor, and then designing something that stands out because there's so much competition.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're our own worst critics, right? But at the same time, it's like, to me, there's no other medium that's more intimate. Like you can make a film and people sit there and watch it, but there's like a room full of 200 people in a theater. Or even if you watch it at home, it's like a solitary, someone's telling me, this thing. But with a game, it's like Hideo Kojima held a controller, played Death Stranding, and said, no, this feels like shit, better. And then you get that controller and you're like, what? I haven't played Death Stranding.
I haven't either.
Yeah. I wanted to, but I was just like, I don't have a PS4. I did, but I sold it for the Quest.
It looked appealing from the trailers and stuff. But I was like, I want to wait and see what it's like when it comes out, because as far as I know right now, the most curious thing about it is the story. What's the game really going to be? And
that was everyone's concern.
It comes out and it's glorified package delivery, which I don't think I would mind. Like I could probably sit down and play through it once.
Yeah.
But like when like zero punctuation gets on there. He's just like, yeah, it was something nice to do while I listened to a podcast.
Right.
It's just like, oh fuck no.
Yeah. It's all, well, that's why I love them, man, because it's all subjective. Like, people were calling Journey the best game of the year whenever the fuck it came out. And I played, I was like, fuck, what game am I playing? What are you playing? I'm not playing that game. People had an emotional experience. And I'm like, fuck, you're either it relates to you because of something that happened in your past, or you were really receptive to what it was saying. And though I understood it, I thought, in my opinion, Celeste, you ever play that game?
I have not.
It is for the Switch. You better get it today.
I heard good things about it, though.
Phenomenal. And I was going through some shit. Well, we were just talking about depression and anxiety. Dude, it was around the height when that game came out, or when it was about to come out. And I remember reading the synopsis, and it was like, well, all you really do is, it's a platforming game. I love side scrolling. I love platformers. I love the nostalgia factor. The art seems really cool. And they were saying that it's really focused on mental health. I'm like, what? And then I play it and I'm like, oh, like the protagonist, a girl, which is great. I love female protagonists. Like, she's going through some shit. And so like her going through some shit with anxiety and depression is then mimicked in the game by symbolism. So all you do in the game is, like, there's levels, but you're basically just climbing a mountain. That's the game. And then you're having to go through your other, like, there's a alternate you. So like the parallels are crazy. It's like you have to fight yourself in order to climb a mountain. The mountain can be any problem, and yourself is always going to be your worst antagonist. So like I really resonated with that game. Loved it. And plus the gameplay was like phenomenal. Like, there's no difficulty modes. And I want to implement this in all the games I make, because like I think there shouldn't be any difficulty modes. Not because of any other reason, but developing. Like, that to me is like,
I agree.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it's the sign of a good developer.
Like, usually difficulty modes, they like inflate the enemy stats while decreasing the player stats. And sometimes they're balanced. And then other times it's just like there's almost no difference in playing on the hardest difficulty than playing on like normal.
Right.
So it's just like, except like you could take one less hit, or like
right,
the boss takes like 20 more hits. And it's,
they're sponges.
Yeah, it's like, it is more difficult, but it's more difficult because you have to basically repeat the same loop longer, right, make less mistakes, etc.
Right. It's not really from a technical perspective. You're like, no, you're not fast enough, or you're not technically proficient. It's just more like, well, now I just have to do the same action but longer.
Yeah, it's an endurance. It becomes an endurance test, not a, I won't say not a contest of skill, but like a, like nothing has changed conceptually.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But that's why I love Celeste, and like how I want to use that approach to difficulty, because basically they build the game and the level is from A to B. And then there's all these difficulty spikes in that level when it comes to puzzle solving. And almost every level introduces a new mechanic in order for you to be able to get to the point. But in my mind, what's so genius about it is that it's in the collectibles. So they know, and it's obvious now, but it wasn't to me whenever I was playing it, was what makes, okay, so in a gamer's mind, you love the game because of its mechanics or because of its story or both. You're going to want more out of that game. Those people typically are the people that are going to want a more challenging game. So how do you make a game that is accessible, but also, feeds the more gamer-centric people out there? They made it so it was with the collectibles. So naturally, you're going to like a game. You're going to want to figure out everything in the game anyway. So why not make those collectibles unbelievably difficult
to get? Yeah.
Yeah, and they have them in each level. So like, you challenge yourself. You're making the difficulty yourself. That's brilliant. I love that. And that's all riddled in that game.
That's a good approach.
Yeah. I thought they did it flawlessly. It's one of my favorite games in the past few years. That and The Messenger, another one that I played on the Switch. they do something very similar, except it's more comedic, sarcastic, and they kind of make fun of the whole hero's journey from a gaming perspective. And they play with the 16, 8, and 8-bit eras. Very nostalgic. But yeah, man, I recommend those. I just love side scrollers though, like Ori and the Blind Forest. Like
I think the last side scroller I played was Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight's a great one too.
Yeah, I did. I got Shovel Knight, and then I got like Plague of Shadows, where you play as Plague Knight, and then
Right.
the last one I played, they probably have more on it now, but the last one I played, you play as Spectre Knight,
Right.
and he like grinds rails with his like scythe.
Yeah.
And stuff. It's like ridiculous.
Well, I just got the physical copy for Switch, and that basically has all those extended expansions. And I'm not against it. My problem with it though is not the game itself. I think the game is brilliant, but that developer, I'm not a fan of, complacency. And they reuse a shit ton of assets, a lot of music, and the stories are nice and they're all well written, but it would be like if Celeste, I think it would be a lot of fun, honestly, if they annualize the series, but then you get a lot of them. There's much less of that passion in there,
And plus, they'll have to maintain similar elements, and eventually you'll be like, well, it's just another.
Yeah. Just another thing. And honestly, I like it when developers flex their muscles in different ways. That's why I really liked, excuse me, people that heard that burp. That's why I really loved Horizon Zero Dawn. Have you played that?
I haven't. I heard good things about it.
Bro, you got a PS4, son. Have you played any of the Sony exclusives lately? God of War.
I got God of War. Yeah, I played through that.
What'd you think of that?
You saw one thing where I complained about the combat in it.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like fighting. I don't think was it the Queen Valkyrie? I don't remember.
Valkyries are
I was
bitches
getting my ass beat
in that game.
And,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
just like-
Talk about difficulty spikes.
I didn't know the full breadth or depth of the mechanics with like a shield or anything, because for for most part, like the normal trash enemies, like at least on normal, like unless they've got like a purple health bar, you're just trucking them.
Yeah, there's no incentive to get accustomed to the mechanics at all for the first half of the game.
Yeah. And then you go through all these Valkyrie fights, and it's just like, gotta learn how to parry, gotta learn how to, when exactly to roll, how exactly to roll, when to block, when to interrupt the attack by throwing the axe.
Right.
And stuff.
Right.
And once I got used to it, I was just like, okay, whatever, I was wrong again.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
But
I love that game.
it was a really good game.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a reason to replay it yet.
Same. Again, for me, it's time. And I've been really in a story kick, bro. I was so looking forward to Red Dead 2 for the longest time. You don't even know. I love Rockstar and a few other maybe 2 or 3 other developers are my favorite. Rockstar has to be my favorite when it comes to creativity, because only they apparently seem to have an unlimited amount of cash from GTA Online, deservedly so. But dude, Red Dead 2 has been in development since at the end of the first one. It's been like 8 years, and they spent those 8 years. And have you played the game?
I haven't. The one thing that made me think about it was like, he's mentioned so many games, and I haven't played so many of them.
No worries.
But the reason I haven't played every big game that comes out is because I've been playing an MMO. And that's one of the things. When you play an MMO, a lot of your time goes towards it.
Oh, that's a lifestyle game.
And so a new game will come out, and it's like, is it good enough for me to put down the MMO for a month?
Right.
It's like, is it?
That's a tough call.
It might be.
Yeah.
But then it depends on also where the MMO is at, and it's patch cycle. Because I've actually quit raiding for now, because I won't say because of my girlfriend, but she didn't do any ultimatums on me or anything. It was just sort of she was getting sort of unhappy because I was raiding 4 days a week.
Sure.
On top of work, that's
yeah, we just talked about it. It's tough to find time.
it's 12 hours out of the little time, and she's just she was getting on it. She's like, when am I going to get to spend time with you?
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay.
I understand, dude.
But I was also getting frustrated with my raid groups, so I was sort of okay, I think
Yeah.
done with this tier. I'm going to take a break from it for a tier, and see like it wasn't even the end of that tier technically. Like they did like a story patch, and then like they're not gonna release a new raid tier till like February. So like if I take I've been on like hiatus since like the start of November. So
that's a good break.
By the time they release the next tier, and I'm still gonna be taking a break from raiding, like it's gonna like if I pick raiding back up again at all, it's not gonna be till like the summer.
Right. So, that's a good break though.
So like yeah, that's a long break.
Yeah.
But like before, like when I was raiding, you know, like new game comes out. If it comes out during a raid cycle, like I don't even look at it.
Yeah.
Unless it's like something like a From Software game. Like
sure.
Sekiro came out, and I guess it was like right at the end of a raid cycle, so I didn't care too much. But like
last April, around there.
End of last March. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just like we'd already beaten that raid cycle in my raid group, and so like had it on farm or whatever. And,
yeah.
Basically proficient at the fight. Like
right.
I don't like the terms that like I play an MMO, but like I'm like a self-hating MMO player. Like I don't like any of the terms people use. I don't like.
Sure.
I don't like
fucking tourists.
the culture words that come from like World of Warcraft, because like
right.
so much of the player base for 14 just came straight from World of Warcraft.
Is that right?
Yeah, like the old first Final Fantasy Online MMO,
yeah.
It never got like anywhere close to World of Warcraft subscriber numbers. Yeah. And like there's a good portion of people from that play 14, but the majority of the player base is either people new to MMOs or people from World of Warcraft. So they brought all these terms over that I just like I know what they mean.
Yeah.
Like
no, I dig it. I dig it.
They refer to their character as like a toon. And I'm like,
a toon?
A toon. And
that's weird.
It's because like the style of World of Warcraft was very...
cartoonish.
Cartoonish or exaggerated.
Right.
And you get into this Japanese, MMO, and like...
Kawaii.
It's... it's like little waifus for
hey,
the ladies.
Don't be dissing my waifus, bro.
I play Fire Emblem. What do you think? I got waifus. But,
dude, I am so into that culture, and I don't give a fuck who knows. I'm like Sam Jackson, where he's like, and hentai too.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I love it, man. I mean, honestly, that's kind of why I like the Switch, because there's a lot of those kind of games. Was Sanran Kuriga or whatever. They have like that pinball game, and then like some other.
I guess you could say I'm like a snob about it. Like I love anime, but like only particular ones. Like
I mean, same. It's hard for like I can admit a lot of those games are bullshit, but that's why I like whenever a good one comes out. Like which one that came out? Tokyo or Mirage Sessions. They said it's a little bit of censoring, but I mean, if you play the game, it's nowhere near the problem that people think it is. I think some of it was basically artistic, but that, and then like last year, an Altair or Atelier game, Ryza, where everyone was making fun of this chick because like she's thick, right? And the developer was like, we just thought she was gonna be a tom girl. We didn't know it was gonna go, viral. And then you see her and you're like, fuck you. You knew what you were doing. Let's just be, just say it. Just say it. I'm hoping Nier Auto Tomato comes out for the Switch. Just for that, like, the gameplay, too, and the story. But come on, she looked good.
I got it on PS4, and I played, like, 10 hours of it, and then I just sort of, like, it wasn't for me.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's not a bad game by any means. I just, like, not really my aesthetic.
Is that okay?
I also kept beating off to it.
I love the part where they like you get the camera under like to see her ass, and she like shoos it away. I'm like, oh, they know their audience, dude. And Yoko Taro, he's a funny guy. He's a great developer.
I had this joke going with my raid team because like everyone who plays 14 got like super big into it because it's like this giant weeb game.
Is it really?
And yeah, like people kept like trying to make their own like glamours and stuff, like to make their character in 14 look like 2B.
No way.
It's a cat girl now, but like she has a blindfold on. down.
And now they did a crossover.
Yeah, they did the crossover, and now they actually have the sets. Everyone went apeshit for those sets. Like they're just like doing that raid over and over and over. And it's a casual 24-man raid, so it's like very easy to get into, very easy to do.
Oh my god!
So like just like these people running it till they get it, running it till they get it, and going insane and like making Twitter posts. I've done the raid 28 times. I haven't gotten the 2B set yet. Like,
oh my god!
Yeah.
The Reddit feeds.
My raid leader was making fun of me because I told him why I stopped playing, and he was just like, "He's got to put your dick down for like 2 seconds and actually play the game."
So you got a bit attracted to the game, and that distracted you from actually finishing it.
Well, that, but also just like
it's a weird game to get into. I agree because I
don't think it's weird. Like to me, like for me, it's like a typical Japanese game, like sort of fair thing, like it's like questioning humanity, like whether they're.
Oh, you mean thematically?
Yeah, thematically, and just like the storyline to it, like, and the fact that it has like so many different endings, like it's definitely cool. And someday I will go back and reinstall it and finish it.
Sure.
But at the time, I was just like, I'm not really feeling this.
That's fair, dude. Yeah. I did the same thing because I played the demo and I was like, I'm gonna get sucked into this fucking game. It's got everything. It's got this beautiful woman. I love platinum games, you know. But then when I bought it, it's not that it didn't have those things, but I wasn't expecting the loop, you know, because it's way slower paced and long form than I was expecting. And if you play Bayonetta or Astral Chain or anything like that, those are like bam, bam, bam.
Quick. Yeah.
But this one was way more, because of its existential themes, just way more slower paced. Put it on Switch.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
I'm sure it's coming out this year, man. Witcher 3's on there. Get out of town. I don't want to hear anyone say anything else about it can't be put on Switch. They have The Witcher 3.
They put Skyrim on Switch. They put Witcher 3 on Switch. They put Dark Souls on Switch. They put Breath of the Wild, you know, which I loved Breath of the Wild.
Beautiful game, man.
But let's see. Mostly my Switch these days, I've done like 4 or 5 playthroughs of Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
I gotta get and finish that game again. 10 hours, and I haven't been able to play it again. Not because I don't love it, because it's got everything. Have you played Persona?
I have not, but
bro, you like 3 Houses, yeah? I mean, fuck, you're in like the 3rd, 4th playthrough. You get to see everything. How many hours have you spent playing that game? Because those are long playthroughs.
Probably 200 hours at least.
That's amazing.
Like I had the one file that I went through, and like I started with Blue Lions. I did Blue Lions. Then after Blue Lions, I did Golden Deer. And then after Golden Deer, I did Crimson Flower with the Black Eagles. And this was all with New Game Plus. So each playthrough was a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster.
Oh.
My first playthrough concluded around 80 hours, and that was without like I didn't turn off any animations for battle. I did hold down A so they go faster because they look wrong when they're going at the normal
speed. Yeah.
They're going too slow for it to be combat. I'm like, please no, just.
Yeah. That's one of the things. Like after Bravely Default, that's the first game I played it. I love Bravely Default. Please God, put all the games like the first 2 HD. Get out of town on Switch. I'll never see anyone again. But that was the first time I realized that. I think that was the first one I played where it was like speeding up, and I was like, this is the best thing that ever happened to turn-based JRPGs. You know, I love that. And I love grinding.
Yeah, grinding's okay.
Yeah. If the loop is fun.
As long as the gameplay's fun, I don't mind grinding. Usually I don't grind if I don't have to.
Right. I'm doing that with Dragon Quest 11 now.
Usually the older the game is or the older style it's trying to emulate, the more you have to.
Don't I know it. Don't I know it.
I played through Dragon Quest 11 the year it came out with my brother. Like he got it. He brought it with him when he visited for Christmas. Mm-hmm. We played through it. Our first playthrough took 100 hours.
Wow.
It's ridiculous because we did everything. And
what?
Well, almost everything. We didn't do quite every in-game thing. Like there's like a arena with some dude. Like we got there and we were sort of like, yeah, I don't need to like see like, you know,
everything. Yeah.
But like, cause like you go through and then like, there's like 3 major shifts of the world basically. It's like you go through, you get to the Yggdrasil,
mm-hmm.
and then the big bad reveals himself, and you're like, oh shit. And
yeah.
then like a little time skip thing happens.
I love that.
And then you go through that and you beat the big bad, and then it's like, well, you've beaten the big bad now at like the 65-hour mark, but don't you want to revive that lolly that died?
And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah, anything to bring her back to life. Okay, well, you're going to have to go back in time and play the whole game again from the Yggdrasil point. But like when you go back in time, not like this is a spoiler.
I don't care.
But you go back in time, and basically when you get ambushed at the Yggdrasil by the big bad, you go back in time, and now you know that he's going to ambush you, so you change the events, and you beat him there.
Okay.
And it causes things to splinter off, and you wind up playing through a different timeline with the same characters, basically.
Wow.
And then you get to meet the true big bad.
The really big bad.
The really big bad.
Oh
And
my
the reason
God.
you didn't meet him in the timeline where you beat the guy who ambushed you is because part of his seal was like destroyed by that guy gaining like demonic power. Like he knew who the big bad was, and he like broke whatever thing was keeping him
at bay.
And like he broke it in a way to where like the big bad can't put his like two parts back together and become whole. So he eliminated that threat to his power, and then
and we never knew.
And we never knew.
Got you.
And
Classic.
all to bring back a lolly. We go back.
Hey man, we'll do anything for them. All right. I haven't played a lot of Auto Tomato, or Automatopoeia, but yeah, man. Like, I know I would go back and save 2B if I could, and I know that's one of the things with Nier is like the replay throughs you play as the different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get around to that because
me neither. Like you do a second run.
Yeah, like you do one as like 9S, and then you do one as A2.
Right. I can't wait to get into it. I'm sure it's going to be on Switch this year. Like, there's so much coming out this year. It's crazy. It's going to be a great year, dude. Like, Cyberpunk. Oh, I'm asking for that whole week off. Fuck it. I cannot wait. I want to be just sucked into that. Their Last of Us 2. Did you play the first one?
I did not. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize to me. I'm sorry. You'll love it, man. You got a PS4. You play any of the Uncharted games or anything like that?
I have not.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very...
well, those are definitely more story-driven games. I mean, not really known for their mechanics at all, more so than, like the gripping stories.
Like they're thematic, and like they got the like the buddy system thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely, yeah, that's there. But I mean, those games aren't really known for their combat or their gameplay loop, even though I think they're rather pretty good. They're just not really known for that. Hopefully the second Last of Us will change things up because it seems like it may be open world-ish. But we'll have to see. I mean, regardless, I'm in it for the story. I love the first one. Love the Uncharted games. What else is coming out this year? Cyberpunk we talked about. Oh, the new Resident Evil remake. Did you play the Resident Evil 2 remake?
I didn't, but...
that's one you can go through pretty quickly.
I like... My friend played through it, and he enjoyed it. I do like Resident Evil games, but the last ones I played through... I guess technically the last one I played through would be 5. I played through it co-op with friends in college. But before that, like the remake of the first one on GameCube, where they put in less ammo and save cartridges and then tell anybody.
Right. And now it's on Switch. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, we got to get more gaming in.
I get plenty of gaming in. I have weird gaming habits. Like I play MMO, but I haven't played it in a bit. I go back and I replay a lot of games too. Like
I do that too, man.
Like,
what's with that?
I don't know. Just like when a game's good, and you haven't like touched it in a few years, you're just like you get that itch to play it again.
Yeah.
You go back and play it, and it's like I got the itch to play Knights of the Old Republic. So
there you go.
I was just like, well, I don't have them. And it's like I've always wanted a physical copy.
There you go.
So like I ordered the Xbox for $90, and I got the.
That's a big deal now.
Yeah,
is this
like,
nostalgia fueled gaming, man? I think that's why Xbox or Microsoft is going so hard on the backwards compatibility.
Probably.
They know that. Yeah. And now PS4 seems to be to do that. I think Sony's going to drop the ball.
Probably. I mean, they already kind of have because, like, you look at the PS4 game library on, like, the PSN store, that's the games you can download. There's, like, over 4,300 games. But, like, 4,000 of them, like, actually more like 4,200 of them, just, like, they're, like, shit games that I've never heard of that I have no...
They're just inflating their numbers.
Yeah, it's like... could you please put like the quality games on there? Like,
Yeah.
you can go download like Final Fantasy 7, but like,
You can play that anywhere now.
yeah, like I could play that on my laptop with an emulator, but
Yeah, or even Switch. They have it on there.
yeah. So like, why not give me something, like give me games that, came out on the PS1 that I love that haven't had any, recent ports, like Wild Arms or
Oh, bro. Golden. Oh, that's Nintendo. But yeah, I'm with you. They have such a vast library that they're not taking advantage of. So like all these older, like Persona 4, I feel so bad because I loved it on the Vita, but now no one can ever play that again because the Vita's dead. You have to go through, like you were saying, go buy the system, buy that system, and then hope that find like a physical copy now because they shut down online support. So like, I mean, that would be dope if the PS5 was able to play anything, but that's a little too consumer friendly.
Probably.
Yeah. But Xbox don't care. You can play anything on that. I love that.
Well, they have less of a history too, technically. I mean, well, actually, just literally.
No, yeah. I mean, they're a whole console cycle behind. That's for sure. But Nintendo has the biggest.
Yeah, stretch of history. And
yeah, almost 40 years.
But they
they dropped the ball so many times, though.
They dropped the ball, but they also they go back and they get stuff and you hear about it. It's like, you can get that in the Wii Online store. It's like, okay, well, I'm already emulating it.
Yeah, right. It's weird, man.
And then they got up in arms about emulation. And like a lot of the top emulation sites with like the ROMs for the games.
Right.
Just like, yeah, you can't get those here anymore. It's just like, okay, I'll go get them at a less reputable site then.
Yeah, yeah. They're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, and that's kind of what the music industry happened in the music industry. Napster came out, a new form, a new medium to keep the music alive, and instead of taking it, buying it, and using it to adapt to a model that you can make money then from, you kill it. But it's still going to be there.
Like in different forms.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, honestly, I was for Nintendo for doing that just because, like, well, it's their IP. I can understand from a business standpoint. But then I was looking at the games that they were emulating, and you cannot find those games anywhere.
Like nowhere else to get them.
No. So it's like almost like a museum.
Or like they're so outrageously expensive. Like the Tellius Fire Emblem games, like on GameCube and Switch or Wii.
Yeah.
Like you could go on like Amazon and like I think you could get Path of Radiance relatively cheap, but like Radiant Dawn's is like $200 or
it's
something.
Crazy, dude. Even these PS2 games too.
Yeah.
Some of these ultra rare games, like, and if you don't emulate them, it doesn't seem like these companies really want to bring them back.
Yeah, they're not going to make any money either way.
Yeah, it's just like, why even bother? You're spending so much money just to shut them down. I don't know. But there's on the other side of the story, like these guys, I think the people that did Sonic Mania, they were just fans of the game that they just emulated it. And then Sega was like, you want to just do that and we can put our name on it. We pay you, yeah. They're like, oh shit, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm all pro any of that, but I'm outside of the industry. Hopefully I'll be able to get in and then be like, I like money too much. You can't emulate my shit. Right now I'd be like, I don't know, man. I like the subscription model. All my games are free. Just support my Patreon. I think people would get behind that, More people would have access to the game. I mean, just think about that. Like, if Sony released the PS5 and did a subscription model where you pay $40 a month, but you get any of their games for free anytime it drops. That's what Game Pass is now. I'd do that. I think I got like 2 years of Game Pass, and I was like, I can play Metro for free when it launches. Now I can play like, and on all the Gears of War games, like there's definitely a lack of first party releases, but I still do it. They get third party, support with that. But if Sony did that, they probably have the most to gain. Because I mean, to your point, like if that $40 included backwards compatibility with all of these awesome titles that are just dead, I mean, I'd pay for it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it depends on how many they got. I don't know.
And not if it was streaming. Fuck that shit, man.
Yeah, like you said subscription. I was like, is he talking about streaming games?
No, download.
No.
Download. Even though I do like physical like I'm buying everything physical now.
I like physical copies too. I don't mind downloading copies, but the streaming gaming, man, no.
Fuck that shit. It's the end of...
The last thing I want is to open up a game library and go to see the game I want to play, and then it's gone because they got rid of it that year or whatever. Like on Netflix now, like I go to see, it's like last night I was trying to look up Good Will Hunting to show my girlfriend, and she's never seen it.
Oh, phenomenal movie,
Yeah,
man.
and Netflix got rid of it, and I was just like,
well, I guess
I'll go buy it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And just jack my laptop into the TV.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, for me, it's more about the preservation. Like, I never really got into it until I looked into emulation. And now I'm like buying everything physically because, I mean, the world can end or something can happen with their servers or like that happens all the time, DNS attacks or whatever. And like, you can back up your Switch saves or your, like with Steam does a great job because you actually download the game and you can just then copy it.
Yeah.
You can make your own copies of it. But for PSN or Xbox Live or even Nintendo, it's just like, if once those servers are gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you have a physical copy, no one else does. Like that's a big get, I think, for the consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this kind of reminds me of, like, I have PS3, and it had that hardware glitch where, like, the Bluetooth receptor or whatever goes bad.
Yeah.
And so, for whatever reason, that causes a glitch with the software update, which they're still doing for PS3, like software updates. I'm like,
Wow.
why are you still software updating this? But
I guess a lot of people still use it, I suppose.
because of that, I had to try to go inside my PS3 and, like, manually, like, take this Blu-ray or Bluetooth thing off and, like, put a new one in, and I fucked it up. So then I was just like, well, I'll just get a new PS3 and switch the hard drives out. Can't do that either because it's not, like, formatted. And like, I tried doing that and just fucked them both up. So then I had, like, the new PS3, I just had to, like, factory reset it. And I've got a PS3 still, but it's a new one that I bought.
Yeah.
And it has none of my downloaded games on it. So I I haven't tried to go to PSN and see if I can just go download them all again.
Yeah. That slow ass UI as well doesn't help.
But I had all 3 Mass Effect games downloaded on it.
Oh.
I had Demon Souls. I had Destiny 1. I had a bunch of PS1 favorites of mine because they were all available. And then, like, a few other games that were just, digital copies on my PS3. And I haven't gone back to see if I can download them again yet.
Yeah.
And I think I should at least go and see if I can. But part of me is just like, what if I go and they're just not there anymore and I can't get them?
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. All that trouble just to a snowball's chance. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. It'll be an interesting year gaming-wise anyway, though. I think Xbox, Sony and Nintendo, they all have quite a bit of stuff up their sleeves. I hope.
I hope so too.
Yeah, and hope the best for your content too, dude. You want to plug? You want to plug your?
No, not
YouTube.
Not really. I mean, it's the channel name's Survivor, but I mean, I don't really want to do a plug.
Yeah. I understand. No worries, man. Well, they know where to find you now. And I like your content. I like, that you just play and you talk about it and you enjoy it. That's all that matters. Like, do you see yourself talking about any other topics, or is strictly gaming you're thinking, or?
I mean, I could probably talk about anything, but if I'm going to do a Let's Play, I'm going to be talking about the game and the game. Like, yeah, the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll mostly stick to the game. Occasionally, like, other stuff will come to mind while I'm playing.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way thinking works sometimes. But
yeah, don't I know it?
I don't want to, like, be playing, like, Dark Souls and then suddenly be, like, on a rant about, like, Hillary Clinton or somebody,
I gotcha. That would be unique content, though. Talking politics while gaming. I don't know if anyone's cornered that market yet, man.
It'd be a disaster. I get all these angry people in the comments.
Oh, bro, you get them in the comments. Good problems, man.
Good problem.
Bad publicity is good publicity, so they say. Dude, I got canceled recently on Twitter because I made a little funny joke. I thought it was funny, but a lot of people did not think it was funny. I'll tell you offline. I talked about it the last podcast, so these guys are probably tired of hearing about it. Do some time travel. There we go. Because this will come out after the last one. I don't know. Now I'm rambling. Well, thank you so much for coming, man. I hope you enjoyed it. You dig it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah?
Time just like evaporated.
I know. I mean, we could be talking here for 4 hours or even longer if we wanted to. Like, nah, man. I mean, I appreciate you coming. Great seeing you.
Yeah, it's 12 years. Like,
Fuck. I'm glad you asked, man, because I wasn't sure if anyone else would want to come in and just talk.
It looked like a fun time and looked like just I don't know. I just like, yeah, it's like friends with Homero on Facebook. Might as well go see him in real life.
Hell yeah,
it's like
man.
Not that far away, really.
Yeah. And anytime you want to come back, dude, let's do it. Maybe do it regularly. We'll talk about games. That's one thing I want to do is do like a video game topical videos just every day. But I want to work my way up to it. Just do a weekly thing with some smaller stuff, and then
get used to the setup first. Get used to the
yeah. I'm wanting to get a different apartment, like get two, or just have a place where I can set this up, where it's on its own thing. That way, anytime I want to do something, I have all the equipment, it's already set up. Let's roll, and then I don't really have to do any post because it's just about streamlining time right now. That's hard to find.
Yeah.
With a full-time gig, it's tough. That's tough, but. Yeah, we'll have to talk more Mass Effect, man, the next podcast, because that's my shit.
Dude, I love all three of them actually, but
same.
Like, dude, I'm like super love the first one because of the story aspects, the journal aspects, like all the like nitty gritty about the universe aspects.
Super RPG.
And then the second one, the gameplay is just
tight, man, tight. They really refined it. They really did. And then I love the third one. But again, whole other podcast. We could talk a whole podcast about it, and we will. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I really appreciate it. I've been doing this ASMR thing where I whisper.
No, we're not doing that this time.
We're doing it.
No.
Just give me one.